What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Now, I just want to say before we get started, a huge thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day to be here. It absolutely does mean the world to me, so thank you so much. And with that being said, let's just crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for refusing to spend any more money on my boyfriend's illness? Throwaway for privacy. Also, English isn't my first language, so apologies if I spell some words wrong. This is a repost. I, 23 female, and my boyfriend, 22 male, have moved in together just before quarantine. Something you should know about him is that he has severe anxiety. I supported him since we started dating, have been there for him, and have paid for therapy when I can, etc, etc. I also have depression, so I like to think I understand a little bit about what he is going through. Now, a way that his anxiety manifests is that he thinks that every so often he is incredibly sick, like super sick, like on my deathbed sick. It's called hypochondria in English, I think, and every single time this happens, I have to take him to the doctor so he gets checked up. He is never actually sick. Where I live, this costs $80, not too bad, but when this is happening twice a week, yeah. Plus, it's full of sick people who we could actually contract an illness from as well. I work for both of us. He quit his job due to health concerns, so all the money comes from me. I recently got demoted due to the fact that I can't work full time in person, so money has been even more tight. And yesterday I snapped. He called me from another room while I was working and asked him to take him to the doctor because he knew he was sick. I was so frustrated that I just started crying. I told him I couldn't pay any more money. I had like $30 for the rest of the week. He knows that he has hypochondria, yet he insists on going anyways, just in case. His therapist is useless. He barely ever shows up to meetings anyway. I was just so tired of this. Back to what happened. After I said that, he went very quiet. He just walked out the house and kept on walking. He blocked me on everything and none of his friends will tell me where he is. I have a friend who is on my side, but everyone else insists that I was the arsehole. I feel super guilty, but I cannot afford to lose any more money. Am I the arsehole? Edit, I'm trying to reply to the comments, sorry. Edit 2, just to clarify, the therapist is the one who doesn't show up, not my boyfriend. I lodged a complaint a while back, but the excuse was, due to COVID, we must all be understanding. They said they would refund me every time he didn't show up, which they have kept their promise so far. And there is a little update after this post, but we will read some of the comments first. But I think this is an incredibly difficult situation. The fact that it's starting to affect your own mental health too, because he's obviously just bleeding your bank accounts dry at the moment by having to attend the doctor multiple times a week due to his hypochondria. And I gotta say, I do find it a bit strange that like he's so ill, but as soon as you had this argument, he was up and kept on walking out the door. You know, it just doesn't sit right with me. But at the same time, he might be going through some proper mental issues where he does need a proper therapist to sit with him and discuss these. And I'm assuming that it's just like a normal doctor he's talking to at the moment. It's not a therapist, although it does say therapist later on in the story. That's where I'm confused, because it sounds like he has more of a mental issue than actual proper illness. So yeah, he does need to speak to a therapist. But let's have a look at some of the comments before we go to the update. So the judgy witch says, and quotes, he blocked me on everything and none of his friends will tell me where he is. Not the arsehole, consider this a blessing in disguise. You don't want to be stuck supporting another adult for the rest of your life. At some point, he has to look after himself. Enter Pursuing a Bear says, not the arsehole, you're being taken advantage of. Clearly your boyfriend needs professional help, but if he is refusing to attend therapy, that's on him. If I were you, I would cut off the financial support now. As Reddit likes to say, don't set yourself on fire to keep him warm. Edit, I'm aware that it's his therapist not showing rather than the boyfriend. As I said in a later comment, I don't really think that changes a thing. The boyfriend is responsible for his own therapy, which includes finding a good therapist. John Chapter says, how did he manage to pay for everything before deciding to be completely dependent on you? If everyone else thinks you're the a-hole, they can invite him to move in and pay for all his expenses. You're not the arsehole, stop feeling guilty, and you're better off without him. Fran PW1 says, not the arsehole, do you want to be his mummy for the rest of your life? Thank God he walked out. Now you can easily break up with him. Run and don't ever look back. Good luck to you. Now let's have a look at the update. So here's an update. Shortly after I posted this, he called and said he was willing to take me back. But all the comments were sort of a wake-up call. I broke up with him over the phone. I know that he was with friends he can stay with, and he has big savings fund that he can dig into if necessary. I went to sleep, and the next day I got a call from his friend. He had tried to do something which resulted in him getting checked into a psychiatric facility. It all escalated very fast, but now he is getting professional help. I will go visit him sometime. Most of his friends are still mad at me, but a few realised that he was becoming unreasonable. Thank you so much everyone, I'm trying to answer questions now. Edit 4, I don't think I will be able to reply to all the comments, and Edit 5, I do not live in the US. I translated it to dollars because the currency would immediately reveal where I live. Where I live, you do not get financial assistance if you have a mental health issue. The only government provided assistance is if you are deemed a danger to yourself or others, you'll be sent to a psychiatric facility, which is what happened to my boyfriend. Now, what do you guys make of this story, and what would you do in that situation if someone was relying on you this much and, they really didn't need the doctor, they needed more psychiatric help? How would you deal with that? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from Sons of Birches. Am I the arsehole for making a classmate cry after a comment I made about her being a mum? I, male 29, have a classmate at university, female 26, that never does work in group assignments because she always finds excuses related to her 2 kids. She also has various people in her class do her personal assignments because being a mother takes more time than anything else. We all hate it, but she is the type of person that cries and makes a huge scene every time she doesn't get her way, so we kind of suck it up and do it. Well, I have a serious disease that slowly destroys my body. This means I have to go to the doctor's appointment sometimes, and sometimes it means I have to go to ER when complications come up quickly. So that is what happened 2 or 3 weeks ago. I started feeling very bad on Wednesday night, and ended up having surgery on Thursday morning. It's important to note that during the week of the surgery, we were both in a 6-person group working on a month-long group assignment. Everyone in the group was extremely worried about me and incredibly sympathetic. I've always been careful not to book any medical appointments during days when I work with others, so only 1 or 2 of them even knew I had this disease. One who didn't know was the mum, and her reaction was, ugh, such a weak excuse to leave us all doing the work, especially since you know I have 2 kids. And I lost it. I absolutely lost it. 2 years of this horrid woman came crashing down over me, and I was already broken from what had happened. So I said, shut the fuck up about your fucking kids. Absolutely no one gives a fuck that you're a mother, and no one fucking cares about your constant whining about your fucking kids. Drop out or make yourself useful for once in your fucking life. A lot of fuckings there. I went off on her. The entitlement, the disrespect, and everything else combined with a complete disregard for my actual fear of death I had at that moment made me snap. I don't regret anything I said, even though I kinda regret some choices of words. I'm usually calm, but she got to me. Most of my classmates are fully on my side and are basically just happy someone finally said something. But some of my classmates think I'm the devil for disrespecting a mother. So, am I the arsehole? Now we're going to go straight to the comments with this one, with Tibbletabs1114 saying, not the arsehole, she was using people and got called out on it, and a medical issue is not a weak excuse, she's a weak person. Dwaro1234 says, not the arsehole, I went back to school at 32. As a disabled vet with tons of appointments and 3 kids, one of them about to turn 2, I still graduated with honours, got 2 degrees in less time than it takes most people to earn 1. Worked a part-time job and took care of the kids while the wife worked. She doesn't have an excuse. My professors would grade group projects based on participation. It happened more than once when one person didn't do their part and they received a failing grade. Sucks, but life is tough. Hessen Vega says, ugh, you're dying. So weak. Do my lessons just because I decided to get someone to come in me. God, the entitlement of some people. Not the arsehole. If she can't handle doing university and having kids, she can start lessons when they're older. I'll definitely be by your side and finally someone telling her off. Lol. Nebula Solar says, not the arsehole, being a mother isn't an excuse to slack off for school. She chose to have kids and go to school. The mum excuse gets old after a while, but just because you're a mum doesn't mean you can't be a crappy person. You need to talk to your professors as well about her. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation, and how would you handle it if you was OP? What would you do? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from a deleted user. Would I be the arsehole if I tell my partner her sister is the reason we're not married yet? I had a plan for a surprise wedding for my partner. No proposal, no engagement. We happened to stumble across the scene of an already set up wedding. She's shocked and delighted. We walk down the aisle and get married with all of our friends and families already there and in on the secret. I'm not here to debate if this is a good idea. I've considered it for years and have come to the conclusion my partner would be delighted by it. I worked out all the details. I know exactly the custom dress she'd have made, the details of the venue and setting, etc, etc. This took some work. I talked to her family about it and they're reasonably a bit concerned. I assure them and begin to involve her sister, who will be the maid of honour, in the planning. The sister, her husband and the 6-year-old boy live a couple of states over, so they have to fly in for the wedding. Their spending history and luxury cars, house and winter condo in a warmer climate indicate that money doesn't seem to be the biggest consideration for them. I finally picked the date, Feb 8th, 2020, excited to tell sister and verify the venue is available, to be met with a response, "Hi OP, no problem at all. I'm sorry but we couldn't possibly make that date. Her son and I will be in school and we have just left your state the month prior. We can be in your state anytime between December 20th and January 5th. Is there no way these friends can be in the area during that window?" Initially, I went along with it, but eventually I couldn't continue. I was so enraged that she would presume to tell me when I could get married. The date is important for my partner's preferred setting. Hopefully with snow on the ground and early February is a safe bet. I haven't told my partner about this because I think it might significantly affect her relationship with her sister. My problem is that I'm stuck on what to do. My partner incessantly and openly complains about us not even being engaged yet, and every time she does it increases my negative feelings towards her sister over it. Normally I talk to my partner about everything. This is eating me up inside and I'm at the point where I hate her sister for it and like the idea of eventually revealing what happened. I know this is not a good way to feel and planned on never telling my partner, but my resentment continues to grow every time my partner mentions marriage or I think about the fact I could be married already. Would I be the arsehole if I tell my partner what her sister said in response to me having scheduled a wedding surprise date, effectively cancelling my marriage surprise plans? Edit. I've been the arsehole for blaming me not being married on my partner's sister. Again, I'm not here to debate whether a surprise wedding is a good idea for my partner. I understand it's a terrible idea for most people. I spent literally years considering the idea and coming to the idea of doing it. You are not my partner, nor do you know her. Now, we also have a little update on this post too. And I know it says not to judge him based on the idea, but it does sound bloody terrible, right? The fact that you're picking out her wedding dress too. You don't think that she might want to be a part of that? I'm sorry, this sounds terrible. And that the fact that you're picking, you presume that this person's rich so they can just fly around the world sort of willy-nilly. Like they could just do that. They live 2 states over, man. That person's tried to make a compromise for you and said, gave you a window to pick from if you really want that person there. Otherwise, just have the wedding without her, right? Doesn't need to be there. But Cerelia says, you would be the arsehole. They don't get to dictate your dates the same way you don't get to dictate theirs. You also went along with the date change, but then secretly got madder and madder. You seem to be assuming they essentially lied when they said they could not make this date. You have to talk to people. Did you explain why the date is so important? Try to compromise or consider another date. The sister is not the reason you are not married. You are not married because you have committed to a specific scenario that relies on elements you've been able to pull together. You have other options. You could propose. You could plan a not secret wedding. You could do the secret wedding with different maid of honor. You could change the date. But to tell your fiancé her sister is what stands between her and being married to you is simply not true. Mrs. Chester says you're the arsehole on multiple levels. Number 1, you can still get married without her sister there. 2, with lockdown restrictions, it's really not that easy to travel back and forth, money aside. 3, you sound super controlling. Planning the dress she is going to wear? Do you not realise that she may not want to be a part of the planning? That there says you're the arsehole. Firstly, that sounds like a terrible, terrible idea. Secondly, in quotes, initially I went along with it, but eventually I couldn't continue. I was so enraged she would presume to tell me when I could get married. You picked the date, someone said they're not available, and you're angry at them. And sad Janet said, I would be pissed if my partner did this to me. absolutely pissed. I'm not huge on weddings, but I'd want to have a say in my own. I believe the engagement period is an important step towards deciding if a union is a good idea. An engagement is a time to plan the wedding together, make choices about what to do, and enjoy it with someone. So I think you're the arsehole for taking away an important relationship step from your partner and then getting pissed her sister can't make it. Now we have the mini update which says, I confessed to my girlfriend the entirety of the situation. She said she would have loved a surprise wedding and I'm relieved but devastated as well. Edit 2, thank you for the responses. They've granted me some things to think about that I need to work on putting my ego in check. Yes, I am an arsehole. Yes, I come across as an arsehole. Thank you to those commenters able to articulate your viewpoints in a constructive manner. Reddit has helped me become closer to my girlfriend and begin working towards a better place in my relationship with her and my in-laws. I'm going to stop responding to comments now. I apologise for being an arsehole to the other arseholes and non-arseholes in this thread. Now, I'm going to turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? And put yourself in the potential bride's shoes as well. Imagine turning up one day and there's a surprise wedding and even down to the dress has been picked out for you. How would you feel about that? Would you feel comfortable with it? Would you be happy with it? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for telling the police and a private detective where my fiance's sister was hiding out after they came looking for her? The background is this: my fiance's sister had an affair with a married man from her work. She gave him chlamydia and he gave it to his wife. My fiance's sister got it treated, but she didn't tell him and he gave it to his wife and she ended up in hospital. My fiance's sister is also pregnant from the affair. The married man's wife is divorcing him. She is suing my fiance's sister for something called alienating affections because she had an affair with a man she knew was married. In our state, it is a crime to give your partner with an STI and not tell them. The married guy's wife made a statement to the police. Also, fiance's sister was suspended from her job because she was an assistant manager and the married guy was her employee, and that's against their policy, and there are also sexual harassment issues at play. I know all this because of what my fiance told me, and also because to save money for the wedding and a house, we're living in the basement apartment of his parents' home. So a police officer, a private detective, hired by the lawyer for the lawsuit, and someone from her workplace have come here at different times looking for her. She was dodging getting the lawsuit papers and giving a statement to the police. She was telling everyone she went to stay with her parents, but she wasn't really. Way after the visits from then had happened, I heard my fiance on the phone with her sister. I heard where she was, not in the city anymore. I called the private detective and notified the police. My fiance is angry at me for giving up her sister's whereabouts. She also told me her parents are being looked at for lying to the police about knowing her sister's location and giving her monetary support. I have no idea about what her parents told the police, I only knew they wanted to talk to her. I don't think I'm the arsehole for telling the police and private detective where she was staying. She's an adult and the entire situation is of her own making. My fiance and her parents and sister by extension are angry at me and think I'm the bad guy here. They also blame me for putting stress on her while being pregnant. Holy shit, what a total mess this post is. How do people get themselves in these situations, man? She got an STI, gave it to someone else, and then didn't tell them but got treated herself. That is some selfish behaviour, and for that in itself, I think she gets what she deserves in my opinion. Might be a bit harsh, but at the same time, you're also a bit of an outsider to this whole family drama, and do you really want this to escalate any further? Because now it is, now you've done this, it's going to escalate and probably blow up in your face. And it might not be in this case, but sometimes I think you just have to sort of step back and think, is this really worth it? Is it worth me getting involved? She probably will get caught eventually, right? So do you need to throw yourself under the bus for that to happen? That's just my views anyway. It might be a bit of a flaky one, but let's read some of the comments to see what they say. Ron fucking Swanson, ain't seen that name in a while. Bro, you need to run the hell away from this family as fast as possible. Even if you could fix things, it's not worth it. It's only a matter of time before your fiance breaks it off with you. So you need to start making plans now, or better still, you need to get the hell out before more drama falls into your lap. Not the arsehole. Unruly Peasant says, holy shit, what a dumpster fire. They're mad at you because you're the only one who is telling the truth. I think you should take a serious look at the family you're about to marry into. Not the arsehole. Cult Queen says, not the arsehole. She gave an STD to someone and should be punished for it. This is the consequence of her decision. Also take note how your fiance deals with this. Her views on infidelity is somewhat concerning. And A name I can't pronounce says, everyone sucks here. Her situation makes her 100% the arsehole, but it's also neither our or your business to decide what happens with that. Going out of your way to listen to private phone conversations so you can turn around and turn her in full well, knowing your fiance and their family were hiding her. I personally don't agree with their approach, but it's their family. You have now created a lot of problems for a relationship between you and them. I hope you're prepared for that. Your in-laws are certainly questionable and your fiance's treatment of infidelity, so I would consider that before moving forward. I'm sorry you're in the middle of a shitty situation, and I wish you luck. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What would you do in that situation? This whole mess, would you actually get involved with it if you could and report her to the police and private detective? Or would you step back and just let this all play out? I think sometimes it's just not worth getting involved in these kind of dramas when, you know, she probably will get caught eventually anyway. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe, just maybe, that notification bell too. Thank you, take care, much love.